to start the recording, and we will have 3 presenters. First one is Johanna, I believe, and then continue with Juliana, and the last one, Anne-Marie Flynn, to do the workshop. And Johanna, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, please share your screen, and the next 10 minutes is yours.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Johanna Zöchbauer. I'm from Linz, Austria. So mainly I'm a secondary school teacher. I'm teaching mathematics, physics, and technical drawing. And I'm also doing my PhD at the Johannes Kepler University in Linz. Today I will talk about GeoGebra Classroom and hands-on materials. So how to use GeoGebra Classroom, the new developed tool, together with hands-on material. So first of all, can you see the slides well? Sorry, okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So GeoGebra Classroom is a newly developed tool which allows teachers to easily share materials with the students and to have an overview of all students' work and to see at individual students and on individual tasks or just an overview. So basically GeoGebra Classroom is a connected classroom technology, which means it refers to a network system of personal computers or handheld devices specifically designed to be used in a classroom for interactive teaching and learning. It offers a broad range of innovative features, such as facilitating communication between teachers and students, displaying the students' responses in real time, allowing rapid aggregation of student work by teachers. Moreover, it enables most students to contribute directly to interactive activities and to play a more active role in classroom discussions. So what I did now is not just to use a task that is on paper and put it into a GeoGebra Classroom, into an online worksheet, but to add a lot of additional activities. So, for example, the task could be indicate all coordinates of the vertices of this object. So if you're doing a classroom without technology, you may have a paper and a two-dimensional image of this figure. So what I did in Classroom, we use those thick cubes that are small cubes of 2 centimeters length, and they can stick together easily, so you can build easy objects, just like this. Moreover, students will get 3D coordinate systems that they built by themselves before, and to put the object inside this coordinate system. So that was a task without technology, and with technology, with GeoGebra Classroom, the worksheet could look like this. So I will share this worksheet. So can you see it now? It's still loading.
Yes, perfect.
Great. So the students will get the worksheet and will look like this. They have here the object. They can move or enter some coordinates here. So here in this case, they have to note that one box has the size of 2 × 2, so just the same size of one of these thick cubes. And then they can slide here to plot the point and to see the X, the Y, and the Z coordinate. Moreover, they can move the object to see it from all different sides to find, so look from above or front view, for example. Then they have some additional questions, so just as enter the coordinates, and also how many vertices does this object have, and questions like where do you find the point 440, then they have to check the answer, or 626. At a last activity, I want to have a group activity, so where kids can work together. And first of all, each student has to enter coordinates of a point that is located inside the object, one outside and one on the surface. After each student entered 1 or 2 coordinates, me as a teacher, I get those results easily on my screen. And then I can share one example of one student. The other kids in the classroom listen to it, and then they select if the point is located inside or outside or on the surface. When the teacher moves to another object in between, the students select new objects so that the teacher knows now we're beginning with a new example. So I want to use this worksheet in my classroom, and my research question for this topic is how and to what extent can GeoGebra Classroom support teachers and offer them new opportunities in teaching? So my overall research question of my PhD is how should the GeoGebra Classroom tool be designed so that it becomes easily and enjoyable to use for teachers and students? And this particular research, I want to focus on this question. So,
sorry, Johanna, we lost your presentation.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Maybe when okay. So I move back. So my research question for this specific topic is how and to what extent can GeoGebra Classroom support teachers and offer them new opportunities in teaching? And in particular, I want to look at 3 issues. The first one is the combination of digital and physical resources. So how the students combine the GeoGebra Classroom tool and, in my case, the dig cubes. The second one, for me, is the most important part is classroom collaboration. So everything that's within collaboration, group discussion, where students provide the tasks for other students, so where we have a class activity. And the third one, this is what I looked or had a closer look before, to support. So issues that support the teachers for handing out activities, for collecting students' answers, and presenting answers in classroom. The setting for my study will be 7th grade secondary school students in a technical drawing lesson. And the duration of this worksheet should be approximately 1 lesson. Students were used to GeoGebra Classroom tool before, so they worked with it in distance learning, but now the study will take place in a real classroom. I will collect different types of data, so I will video record the session and also do a screen recording of the teacher's screen. Students will get a questionnaire, which also consists of usability and a user experience questionnaire. And with some students, I will do some interviews. So the questionnaire will consist of some introductory questions, the system usability scale, and the user experience questionnaire. So where I will have a closer look at GeoGebra Classroom, the system itself, and also some open questions. The system usability scale is a 10-item scale, which was defined by Broke. and it's a questionnaire where you can evaluate user satisfaction easily and also compare it with a value if the tool is easy to use or not. The second one is more detailed. It's a user experience questionnaire by Schrepp, and it has 20 items, which consists of opposite items, and students should define if annoying or enjoyable fits more for this tool. Okay, I hope next time I can present the results of my study. So in the next month, I will conduct it in my classroom with the students. And here are my references, and thank you for listening. If you have any questions or ideas, I will be very happy to discuss.
Thank you very much, Johanna, to show your research design, and it was very interesting, especially about the questionnaires. And any questions or comments to Johanna? You can unmute yourself. I see Diego. Do you want to say something?
Yeah. First of all, congratulations, Johanna. I'm so glad to see how your work is progressing. And I was also curious to know, I mean, if you can repeat this last part when you made some questions and the student had this opportunity to a new version or new model, how it works properly. When he or she click on this checking box, he's getting a new one?
No, not really a new one, but so as a teacher, I see the multiple choice results of the students. So if they're checking A, B, C, or D. And when all select B, for example, because B is the correct answer, and then there comes a new task, the teacher somehow needs to know that they pick a new answer.
Ah, I see. Oh, that's so nice.
Because currently, there's no possibility for the teacher to reset the response. So somehow the teacher has to make sure that the students start from a new one. So otherwise they just select one and then stick to the answer. But then they always have to go back to new object. So then, for example, the 20 students all pick D, and there's the next task, and then they move to A, B, or C.
Cool, cool. It's more interactive somehow with this feedback and so on. Yeah, cool, great. Thank you. And so glad to see you and all friends on Linz.
Okay, nice to see you too, Diego. Thank you for your contribution. And the next, I believe, Edith, you want to say something? Please just open your mic.
Yes, hello, Johanna. Thank you very much for your very interesting talk. My question is a bit out of the scope of your presentation, because I was wondering, I like very much your combination of physical and digital tools. And so I got the impression that for this specific task, you used the dig cubes for the coordination in 3D. Did you use them for any other purposes as well? Because I really like this combination of the 3D coordinate system on paper and the models you built. So did you use them for any other kind of tasks as well?
Yes, so in one lesson I was using them for, I hope I say, so front view, side view.
Projections?
Yeah, there are three types of projections. So Grundriss, Aufriss, Kreuzriss. So where students have to draw them, not only with those cubes, but also with some wooden objects. And in the last lesson, so students get the same cubes, also with the same colors, and then they're building objects. One student is telling that I put the yellow one on the blue one, then I put another blue one on the yellow one, and on the right, a pink one. The students were sitting back to back, so they could not see the other object, and then they're comparing it.
That's great. I really like that. So like well, what I also find interesting the other way around. So you did the projections. So how would it work to reverse it, to get the three projection and build the object? So you could also do it in real and online. So that's something really. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for your comments and questions.
Okay. Thank you, Edith. Any other question? Otherwise, we can move to the next speaker. Any questions or comments for Johanna? All right. There is one more comment from Diego. You can read that, Johanna. And for I think we can move to the next one. And I will give the chair to Clemens, please.
Thank you, Imam. Hi, everyone. I'm Clemens. I'm also a PhD student in Linz. And our next speaker is Juliana. She will talk about designing board games for developing calculation skills in primary school. Hi, Juliana.
Hi, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak in this nice conference.
Sure.
I will share my screen. So one of my favorite topic is using board games in education. I think one reason is that I like to play board games, and I consider them very useful also in education. And for this conference, I choose to focus on design because of the topic of the conference. So in the modern education view, the students should be an active participant, and also learning should be fun. And I think games would satisfy these two criteria. And these could be didactical games, which are present in education for centuries, I think, or card games and board games, and also computer games. And I think games started to be used more and more frequent in education. And this is the reason that game-based learning theory is so developed now. There are so many research in this area of including games in the learning process. So focusing on the primary school, so we know that these pupils are still like to play. So everybody likes to play, but this age is particularly. And while in the preschool, games are considered more important activity, in primary school, there are teachers who don't really use them. So they focus on serious, like say, learning activities. And in a study we made with primary school teachers in Romania, seems that quite a lot, so more than half of them use different games in mathematics classes. But in this study, board games are not popular, so they use more didactical games than board games. In another study, we focused only on board games, and here 92% of the teachers say that they use board games, and 84 use for mathematics. We consider this percentage very high. So I think in some ways not real. One reason that some of them say that they use only once a semester, so it's not a very frequent activity. And also we asked them to give examples, and 14% of the teachers gave examples of other type of games. So they were not very confident in knowing what is board game. Also for the study, we see that one of the main obstacle of using board games is the lack of the suitable game for a given topic or competence. And that is the reason I think that designing board games is an important topic, and would be nice if every teacher would know how to do it for his or her class. I'm teaching press service, preschool and primary school teachers, and I teach them this topic every year, and they design some board games during the teaching methodology course. So what are the more important board game design elements? First of all, game design is the process of coordinating the evolution of the design of a game. And I will give 2 examples of games which I designed for developing mental calculation skills, and there I will show you the process of evolution of the game. And the main elements would be the theme, objectives, goals, rules, and related with rules, the control, the feeling of the control of the user, and also the adaptability to students' competency level would be important. And somehow these elements are very connected, starting with the theme, which set the context on the game. And if the theme is interesting, the player is more involved in the game. If the theme is more, it's closer to the word of the player, also they can connect more with the game. And for example, in primary school, fairy tales are also very attractive for students. So if the game has a fairy tale as a story. Starting with the theme, we can have the goals of the game, and it is good if these goals are connected with the theme, so they are not you know, I don't consider very nice goal to earn some points, just some points. It's better to earn something which is connected to the theme of the play of the game. And the goals give the conditions to win and motivates the player to finish the game. And based on, so we have to give the rules of the games and of the game, and these rules tells us how to achieve the goals. So what we can do and what we are allowed to do to achieve the goals. For example, set the way how the players progress on the board, how the criteria for winning. And it is important that the students want to use their skills, their competencies. It's not good if the game is can be won only by luck.
Juliana, you have 3 minutes left.
Oh, sorry. So I will show the games then. In these games, the story is a fairy tale, and what I want to say about the control in the game, here the user can choose where to go. So it's not a fixed path to follow, and instead of a dice, they are cards, and the operations, they have to solve the operations, and they can they can do so many steps as the result of the operation. And so this is another game, and here I want just very shortly to say about the design progress. At the beginning, I had cards here, and here are the results from the multiplication table, and the students had to have those 2 cards which gave the result, but the game was very, very, very slowly. they was frustrated that they didn't get the right card. Then I said we don't use cards, and they just have to say which two numbers give the result. And it was much faster, but still I've considered it not fast enough. Then I use a timer, and they can step so as many steps they say operations, how many operations they say in that 20 minutes, 20 seconds or 30 seconds. So I just want to show that experimenting the game is very important, and then you can change the design or the rules. We also have an experiment with students. Actually, more students participated, but these students participated in an organized experiment, and they got the evaluation sheets, and also the research. I observed the problems during the games, and I think these kind of experiments are very important to have a good game. And what I observed that it is important the time, how in which the game can be finished. If I want to use it in the classroom, it should be simple, not to spend too much time with learning the rules, but also to be an interesting game mechanism. Students should feel the control over the game, and it should be easily adapted to different levels. For example, the game with castles could be very easily adapted by changing the cards with the operations. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Juliana. That was perfect timing. I think it was almost on the second 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for your interesting presentation. Are there any questions from the audience?
Yes, can I do a question, please?
Yes, Eduardo, please go ahead.
Yes, well, congratulations, Juliana, very interesting work. I have a question for you about the game designing. When you're working for create a game, you discuss about the mechanics, how is the better mechanics. For example, in that first game, you didn't use dice, use cards. I think it's better for strategy for the student to work in maybe not math, but soft skill. So do you have this kind of discussion when you are creating the games for the mechanics? You study another kind of mechanics, maybe draft cards or something like that? Thank you.
Yes, I was thinking not to use that type of game, which I see many times from my students who design games like drawing with the dice, and then in some points students get some problem to solve. So I was thinking to integrate the solving the operations, integrate in the game. So in this way, they don't feel that they have problems to solve in some places. They need that operation to solve in order to advance on the board. So I was thinking that is better. Actually, that game, the caster, can be used also with preschool students with dice, and they just go around throwing the dice. But in that also I was trying to give control to the player. So in both games I have shown the player could choose the direction to go. So it's a net instead of a fixed path. And so the operations somehow I wanted to hide in the game, so not to have other goals. In the first one to collect the magic tools, and the other one it was a amusement park, and they need to collect money, and then they need to play with different games in the amusement park. So I tried to have a theme of the game to forget about mathematics.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you for the question, Eduardo, and for the answer, of course. Juliana, is there any other question from the audience? We have, I think, time for at least one more question.
I have one, please, Clement.
Imam, yes.
Yes, I was wondering how long the game in your design would be played with your students.
Yes, so the first game, the castle, it's about 15-20 minutes, I think. But the second one, even now, after three changes, it still needs 40 minutes at least. But if you want to collect all the games. But I think even if you go in person to an amusement park, you don't have time to try everything. So we can set a time limit and to see in that time limit which one to choose.
Okay, and it is also including the briefing, or what I mean is that only the process of playing the game or the game-based learning itself?
So this the process of playing the game. So I think these games should be played more times, because at the first play you spend time with learning the rules, and these kind of games should play. For example, the first one, you can change the cards based on what you learn with your students. They know already the game, they know already the rules, and then you can change the cards and play more times in a semester the same game. And you can play in competitive way also, and in cooperation. That in the castle you can collect together the magic tools and won the dragon, but or you can play individually and everybody so win who is the first to the castle.
Okay, thank you, Juliana. Looking forward to seeing the games.
Good. So thanks again for the presentation, Juliana. I think it was really interesting to see that even with board games that would seem old-fashioned, there is a lot of potential to add some interesting way to maths education. So thanks a lot, Juliana, and I'm handing back to Imam for the third part of our session.
Thank you, Clement. For the third part, we have a workshop from Anne-Marie Flynn. Sorry to spell wrongly your name. You can correct me later. The title of the workshop is Everything You Need to Know About Engineering, but Did Not Know to Ask. We have time for more or less 30 minutes. And the floor is yours.
Thank you, Iman. Hello to everybody. I am coming to you live from my attic on Long Island in New York. And I want you to know ahead of time, I am very conscious of my strong New York accent. So hopefully you'll give me a break from time to time. I am an engineer, and I've been an engineer my whole life. I'm 60 years old. And I spent most of my career up until the last 2 or 3 years teaching chemical engineering in higher education at the university level. Now, I fell into engineering by accident. It's a silly story, and I'm not going to bore you with it. But while I was at the university level, from time to time, I would go out to what we would call high schools. And I apologize in advance, I'm going to use all American terms. It would be too much for me to think non-American and also talk to you at the same time. I honestly can do that. So at the high school level, I would go out and talk about engineering. And when I was at the high school level, when I was out there and I would see the way that engineering was being introduced to middle school and high school kids, 11, 12, 13, 14, I thought to myself, boy, if I was in high school right now, there is no way in the world I would be an engineer. This stuff is just not interesting enough. It's not interesting to me. But I thought at the time, I teach college. What do I know about teaching high school kids? And I would say, whatever, let them do their thing. I don't know anything. A couple of years ago, both my kids graduated from college. I decided to get more involved in engineering at the middle school and high school level to see what the heck is going on. So I'm at Columbia Teachers College now, working on an education degree to figure out how undergraduate education differs from the way high school teachers teach. This is the problem. I don't know if the statistics are the same in Europe, but imagine for a second, we have Memorial Day weekend coming up right now, and it's a 4-day weekend. And I want you to imagine 10 people away on a 4-day weekend, whether they're old or young, 5 males, 5 females. So let's say they're middle-aged, 40 something, oh my God. And on Thursday night, when you get to wherever you're going, the 5 males are talking and they decide what we're all gonna do on Friday or Saturday, an outing, if you're at the beach or in the mountains, whatever. You can imagine that if 5 males are deciding what everybody is gonna do on Saturday, it will look like X. Okay, another scenario. The 5 females get together, sit around a table, maybe a glass of wine, and they decide what everybody is going to do on Saturday. Everybody here has to admit that those 2 scenarios are going to look different. Yes, no, just nod. 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 No nodding. The 2 scenarios look different. Engineers create everything around us. Everybody thinks that an engineer only creates a rocket or a car or a steamboat. They create this lipstick I have on. Somebody's got to do it. If 5 males decide what the whole group is going to do, it's going to be skewed towards their choices. If 5 females decide what everybody's going to do, it's going to be skewed toward their choices. The world does not look like that. The world is 50-50. So if the 10 of them get together, there's a point to this, and decide what they're going to do on Saturday, it is representative of the whole group. Yes? That's the good way to do it. Right now in the United States, 20% of the engineers are female, period. And it's been that way for 40 years. I don't know if it's the same in Europe. Yes, no? Yes?
Sorry, and just to make sure, do you have some slide to share or not?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
this
okay,
is the
okay.
precursor to it.
All right, we are waiting.
That's why I'm doing it. Sorry.
Okay.
It has been 20% engineers are female for 40 years. 40 years. Count up to 40. NSF is big here in the United States, as is NIH, National Science Foundation, National Institutes for Health. The amount of money that they have spent on increasing, broadening the participation of women and underrepresented minorities in engineers is in the trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars. Yet nothing has changed. I want you to imagine any company on the planet, if they were to invest trillions, year by year, it's millions, decade, it's billions, multiple decades, it's trillions, and nothing changed, that company would be out of business. That's where I am right now. Why on earth are there no females in engineering? I'm going to say to you, it is up to the middle school and the high school teachers. Nobody knows, other than an engineer, I can tell you right, nobody knows what an engineer does. They know what a firefighter does, what an accountant does, what a doctor does, what a nurse. They can tell you what an astronaut does before they can tell you what an engineer does. And if they tell you what an engineer does, honestly, half of them tell you it's driving a train. Okay, so this is it's almost like, have you ever walked into a building and the front of the building is small? And when you open the door, you walk into the building and it's an oasis. That's what engineering is. Right now, engineering is 80% male, most of them white male. Right now, that is who is attracted to engineering. But that does not mean they're the only ones that can do engineering. Okay, I'm gonna start sharing my PowerPoint. I just wanna explained to you, I happen to have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. So I have a short-term memory issue. So when I put my PowerPoint up, I am going to have the slides on this side. It's not going to be in slide view because I need to see what's coming up. Okay, here we go. Okay. This is the graph of where we are over 40 years. In spite of trillions of dollars being spent, that's what it looks like. All right, let me just move it over a little bit. Okay, how are we going to change it? Middle school and high school teachers have to understand what is engineering. What types of engineering are there? What types of engineering schools are there? What does a kid take in high school? This is the problem. This is an undergraduate degree. This is a graduate degree in a teacher who teaches teaches chemistry. The middle is a bachelor's in chemistry, and the right is chemical engineering. The blue are all the sciences. And the problem is, let's say I'm a chemical engineer. Everybody assumes that chemical engineering and chemistry are similar. See how the blues, it's chemistry. What's the big deal? CHEM is in common. Not at all. What everybody is missing is the red, the core engineering part. So it's not possible for it's not fair for high school teachers and middle school teachers and counselors to direct kids towards engineering if they know nothing about engineering. That's why we're here. All right, so the first thing is, I Googled engineer, and this is what came up. In my life, I've been an engineer my whole life. In my life, I have never been in an environment that looked like that. Yet that's what come up in Google. Those are the images. Another image. This is from Apollo 13. When they wanted to depict the engineers at NASA, this is what they look like. Quintessential, black horn-rimmed glasses, white shirt, the pocket protector. That's how the movies depict engineers. The reality is, Mike Bloomberg, mayor of New York, presidential candidate. Cindy Crawford, Uber model, now a partner in Casamigos. Joe Girardi, manager of the Yankees. All of these are engineers. Herbie Hancock, Terry Hatcher, Alfred Hitchcock. All of these are engineers. Ashton Kutcher, now that's a surprise, I have to be honest. Tom Landry in the United States, he's one of the more famous head football coaches in the United States. Dolph Lundgren actually is probably the most brilliant of all of these, who was in Rocky. Tom Schultz has a graduate degree from MIT in engineering. He was the founder of Boston, you know, more than a feeling, that's all. And then we have Montel Williams. He was the first African-American to graduate from the Navy. Yet, if you Google nerd or social misfit, this is the costume that you get. There's a company called Party City in the United States. This is a Halloween costume that you can buy. Right now, the problem is the stereotypes that exist, certainly in the United States. The ability stereotypes are girls can't do math, girls don't like math, and they don't like science. The cultural stereotypes is that they are not strong enough to be in engineering. The stereotypes are real. However, in the 8th grade, girls outperform boys in science and technology, but by the time they finish 12th grade, only 20% of them are interested in going to engineering. They are not going into engineering because they're not competent. They're not going into engineering because they don't know anything. And the question is, who's going to tell them stuff? All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is accreditation. Everybody should know that a civil engineering program in New York, in California, in Tokyo, in Innsbruck, one of my favorite places in the world, is the exact same. Because of accreditation, every single program has to be the same in civil engineering as with chemical engineering, and it's called ABET. ABET is the Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology. How do I know? I'm an ABET evaluator. So when an ABET evaluator comes in, every single program, see how the minimum credit hours are there? Every single program has to have the same number of math and science, engineering, and general education credits. And this is what you give the evaluator. Every single course that you teach. So let's say, for example, let's use food, chicken Parmesan. Chicken Parmesan, I would imagine, is the same all over the world. Chicken, red sauce, and Parmesan cheese. However, if you order chicken Parmesan in any restaurant and you get a piece of chicken with artichoke on the top, they're going to say, whoa, this is not chicken Parmesan. The same is true for every single engineering program in the world. They have to have the same architecture, no matter where you are, independent of the language that it's taught in. Okay, abet.org, anybody can go on site and look up an accredited engineering program. Now, are there engineering programs that are not accredited? Absolutely. Are they good? Yes, they're fine. But why would you want an accredited engineering program? The same reason when you go to a physician, you go to a plastic surgeon, you want someone that's board certified. That's all it is. Okay, let's talk about an engineering program. So think of it this way. If all engineering disciplines are the same all over the world, what goes into them has to be the same. And again, this is mostly for middle school and high school teachers. They are basic science classes, engineering science classes, straight engineering classes, and general education classes. What's a basic science? What you think it is. Calculus, physics, chemistry, and includes computer science. What is not in there is biology. Engineering science. Engineering science is what you would get if you take a basic science in an engineering class and you put them in a blender. Thermo, statics, dynamics. Straight engineering, core engineering. They're in red. Heat transfer, mass transfer, steel design, structures, fluids, blah, blah, blah. And then general education classes tend to be social sciences and things like history, religion, English, sociology, philosophy. All right. That's what any engineering program is made up of. This is what most freshman engineering programs are made the first year. I can tell you that most high school teachers have no clue what a first-year engineering program looks like. So why on earth would they ever think about saying to one of the kids in their class, you know, I think you'd be good in engineering. We all know that when we were in school, it could be just 5 words from a teacher that could change the course of your life. Somebody walks up to you, you'd be a great water bottle maker. You know what? Off you go. All right, so this is what it looks like. It's mostly blue, which are sciences, and green, which were general education classes. This is a 4-year program. See how it's mostly science and general education in the beginning, mostly science and start to bring in the engineering classes in the 2nd year. The 3rd year, more engineering classes. The 4th year, more engineering classes. It is not just this one, it is all of them. They have all of this similar architecture. Okay, what classes count towards a college degree? You can take the basic sciences in high school and they will count towards a college degree. You cannot take an engineering science unless you go to a university. You cannot take an engineering class, and you can take all the general education classes in high school. Okay. How many different types of engineering are there? Honestly, in the chat, I genuinely like to know what you guys are brilliant. Best ever, best ever. How many engineering disciplines could you name? Just put them in the chat. Out of curiosity. And you can't cheat by looking at them. Okay. I can't see the chats. Anybody? Imam, can you tell me how many different engineerings are listed in the chat?
The first one is software engineering. Oh, sorry. Mechanical engineering, chemical engineering. Yes, there are three. Fourth one, genetic engineering.
Okay.
Environmental engineering, civil engineering, and so on. Yes, you can continue.
No, about how many are there? Are there about 10?
One moment, please.
Just ballpark it. A dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen?
7.
Excellent. In the United States, I can tell you this is a fact. When people think of engineering, they think you drive a train or something like this. An idiot savant-like student. You have to be brilliant to go into engineering. As a result, all of the girls that go into engineering tend to be brilliant. They would never have the nerve to think of going into engineering unless they were brilliant. This is the reality. I'm going to skip engineering technology. All right. So how many engineering programs are there and how do you tell the difference? All right. So in the United States, we have these malls. And in the malls, there tend to be anchor stores on the corners. I would imagine that malls in Europe are similar. So let's say on the corners, you would have Macy's, Bloomingdale's, JCPenney's, and Nordstrom in a shopping mall. And the stores, the little stores, are in between all the anchor stores. This is a regular shopping mall. The reality is there are 4 anchor engineerings: chemical, civil, electrical, and mechanical. It's not me that says it. It's the Oxford Dictionary of Interdisciplinary. There are 4 anchor engineerings. So if there are 4 anchor engineerings, why don't we just put them on the corners? Chemical, civil, electrical, and mechanical. The anchor stores. The reality is these are all of the accredited engineering disciplines in the world. They are not an engineering that somebody hung out a shingle and they said, I want to be a sports engineer, which does not exist. People might have a sports engineering program, but it is not accredited. Cosmetic engineering, I developed a cosmetic engineering program. That is not accredited. There are 76 different accredited types of engineering disciplines. What do you do? This was me that did it. All of them kind of, so let's say you have Macy's that sells coats and shoes and dresses. But then you could have a small store that sells only women's shoes or only men's shoes or only sneakers. So you kind of lump them all together. And when you lump these all together, you can create what looks like an engineering mall. All of the different engineering disciplines that are associated with chemical, all of the different engineering disciplines that are associated with civil, electrical, and mechanical. And in general, a student that leans towards chemistry, leans towards chemical engineering. A student that leans towards physics leans towards electrical engineering. Civil engineering, in my opinion, is like the uncle that everybody likes. It's a little bit of chemistry, it's a little bit of physics, it's a little bit of math, add a little more physics to it and you get mechanical engineering. Okay. Are they all equally difficult, equally easy and difficult? No. I took this from the internet and they listed the most difficult types of engineering disciplines. I didn't do it. So what we have, if you were to create the x-axis, there would be 76 disciplines of engineering that are accredited along the x-axis. Now, it's important to understand that not every school has every discipline. Some schools will have 3, and if they have 3, it's going to be 3 of the main. Some schools, like Michigan, will have 14. They will have the 4 anchor disciplines, as well as some of the others. For example, forest engineering exists in only 2 schools in the United States. There you go. Okay, so let's keep going. And so those are the engineering disciplines. My guess is nobody, even you guys, no. Okay, my time is up, Imam. My time is up.
No, you still have time. Actually, we have time until 15:55, but I don't know.
Yeah. So
just continue. And sorry.
So right now, everybody should at least realize there are 76 different types of engineering. I chose chemical engineering because in my head, I was 16. I thought I would get my hands dirty with the other three. That's the truth. If there are 76 different types of engineering, let me go back up to it. There is an engineering in there for everyone, literally.
So this is technical problem. Sorry about the technical problem.
So sorry, I pressed the wrong button.
Oh my God!
So sorry.
I'm back.
So
I'm
sorry.
back.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can go back to the breakout session.
I will try.
Right?
I will try share again.
Okay. So
okay,
sorry.
we go back.
Okay.
You can see again.
Yes. So sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry. Okay. I will repeat. For example, the number 3.
Sorry, I think you have to go back. You have to stop sharing, go back to your room, and then share again.
Hello.
I will share it again.
So wait, please. We have to open the breakout rooms again first.
Yes. Who is going to open the breakout rooms?
Yeah, I will do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
We are very sorry for the technical problems. You are still muted, Anne. Please unmute yourself.
Okay, that's
okay. So I think we still have 5 minutes more, and then we have 10 minutes for discussion.
Okay. So essentially, there are 76 different engineering disciplines, and in the United States, there are 400 engineering schools. In the United States, there are about 4,000 four-year universities, but of the 4,000, only 400 of them are engineering. So how
Could you please share your screen again? Yes.
Better?
Yeah.
So there are 400 engineering schools. Now, the reality is you have to realize that there are different types of engineering schools. And I'll go through this quickly. There is the very big university. For example, the University of Michigan. It has 50,000 students. You can do engineering there. There is the small liberal arts college. It's a school that started as a liberal arts university, and they added engineering. And then the third is a school that has the word poly or tech or institute in the word. The difference between the large engineering school, if you go in as an engineer and you decide, I don't want to be an engineer, I want to write poetry, you can change to any engineering major, any discipline that you want, including the different disciplines. At a small liberal arts school, if you don't want to be an engineer, you can go into something other than STEM, but the choices are limited. At a poly-tech institute, if you don't want engineering, you could be a math major or a science major. It is limited to STEM disciplines. So there's the large university where if you want engineering and change your mind, you can do anything, small liberal arts school, and then the poly-tech. Each of these places have very, very different environments, and not every student will learn well in every environment. So I'm going to cut right down to here. So there are 76 different types of engineering disciplines. There are 400 different types of schools. And just from a STEM point of view, you have to imagine everybody. So the disciplines go from easier to harder. The schools go from more challenging to less challenging. For example, if you wanted to get into MIT, you would have to have a minimum 1400 SAT. There are schools where you can get in with a 1050 SAT. So everybody. There are 400 different types of schools. There are 76 different engineering disciplines. Everybody thinks of engineering as electrical engineering at MIT, which in my opinion would be the pinnacle of difficult. But there are all of the other options. It's almost like a menu at a Chinese restaurant here in the United States, where there are so many options. There is a discipline and a school that would suit everyone. And I want to, cosmetics. The largest cosmetics company in the world, there's no close second, did not have a female plant manager until 2012. So with respect to mascara, with respect to foundation, there was no female engineer running a facility that made products for females, not until 2012. Okay, I'm cutting through this quickly. So finding the radar. Engineering is for only high achieving students. That is absolutely not correct. There are average males going into engineering all the time, but mostly the females are very, very strong students. So that's not true. These are all myths. Engineering students benefit from a good work ethic. Absolutely, if I was to pick one thing of all of my students across the board, it would be a work ethic that got them through. That is independent of whether you're a male or a female. I never have time to do stuff or have fun or hang out with my friends. It is assumed that all engineers are nerds, geeks, have no life, and they live their life alone, and they are just most uncool of all the people on the planet. That is not true. Engineering students have to love math. No, you have to be able to do math. It helps if you like math, but I have had tons of students that actually hate math as engineering students. You have to be able to do it. Engineering students have to love science. The exact same thing is true. It's chemistry and physics, biology doesn't come into it so much. That's yes and no. You have to like science. Artistic students do well in engineering. Everybody thinks the left brain, right brain thing. If anything, artistic students tend to do better in engineering than others. They think outside the box.
1 more minute.
Yes. Artistic students do well. You cannot be a college athlete and an engineering student at the same time. Anybody that's ever been a D1 college athlete knows that every minute is accounted for. So that is not true. College athletes actually make the best engineers. So that's a fallacy. It's easier to transfer out of engineering than into engineering. That is absolutely true. You have to know exactly what type of engineering you want to do before you start. No. In the United States, you get a year to pick. We're there. You have to take AP everything. No, that's absolutely not true. You need to know what type of engineering school you want to go to before you go, and that's absolutely sure. Measure twice, cut once. Okay. So just to review, for those that are directing anybody towards engineering, everybody has to, not everybody, but it's good to know that there are 76 types of engineering disciplines. There are 400 different types of engineering schools. Of the engineering schools, of the 400, there are 3 types of, let me stop sharing my screen. Okay. Why can't I stop sharing my screen?
Just click stop sharing. Or we can leave it like this. Just go to the to a slide that you like, And thank you very much. Perfect. Thank you very much for your very comprehensive overview or explanation about all about engineering. And very powerful presentation indeed. All right. From the audience, are there any questions or comments, please?
That's okay. I don't want to go over.
We still have time around 5 minutes. And are there any questions or comments?
I want to ask the audience, because most of them are from outside the United States. How much of this were you familiar with already? And how much of this were you not familiar with? Anybody?
Hi, Anne-Marie. I wasn't aware that there are so many types of engineering studies out there in the US, and I also wasn't aware of these separate types of universities that you have, and the range of what they offer and how you can swap. So I wasn't aware of the depth of your topic.
So most girls don't go into engineering because they don't want to design a car. I was recently on 3 different high school sessions. It happened to be with GM. So the engineer from GM were talking to these high school girls about the drivetrain. Raise your hand if you understand the drivetrain. I only do by accident. So most engineers have no idea how to talk to a high school girl. And that's why there's no females in engineering. Not because they can't. Nobody knows how to explain it to them. So my feeling is, in order to increase the number of women and underrepresented minorities in engineering, you have to educate those that influence high school students, which nobody, and I mean nobody, is doing. Now, like I said, I'm 60. I'm on my kids are graduated, you know, I'm not retirement, but I'm on my way. This doesn't impact my life. But does this make sense to you guys? You're a very different audience than what I'm used to. Does this make sense to any of you? Or I would love for you to say, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. No?
Yeah. Any comments? Just unmute yourself. Or maybe I can say something, because it is also common in my country, Indonesia, and that engineering is more associated to men instead of women. And I also remember one course in JKU called Gender Studies. It is also interesting because it discusses about men and female in engineering environment. And yes, indeed, there are more, at least now, more male than female.
Yeah. And in the United States, it's mostly white female. And if a woman joins an engineering program, she's surrounded by testosterone. It's not a comfortable feeling, even as an educator. But the point is, engineers create everything that we make in the world. It would be helped if there were some females that had an opinion. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. And sorry, maybe I have one more question, but maybe a bit move to another topic. But I just want to relate to the topic of this conference about STEAM or STEM. How do you see engineering in the STEAM or STEM education?
Me?
Yes, from your perspective.
So I'm at Teachers College right now, which is one of the best education schools in the country. It's typically ranked 1 every year. They talk about science, technology, and math. And I told them, I raised my hand. I said, you do not have a STEM program, and that's okay. You have a STEM program. Nobody talks about the engineering, except engineers who cannot talk to anybody else. So what's it like? There are technology issues, as in computer science. There are engineering issues because nobody knows about it. Science, everybody understands what science is. Everybody understands what math is. They've been taking it since they were 6 or 7 years old. The true problems are in engineering and technology, computer science. And this is at Teachers College, Columbia University's Teachers College. I told them, you got a STEM program. The E in STEM is non-existent. That's where, and like I said, there have been trillions of dollars spent on broadening the participation of women and underrepresented minorities in engineering over the last 40 years with no impact. Trillions.
Okay, one question rise on the chat from Debo Simbolon. Would you like to open your mic? Or
so Debo, is it Debo or Debo?
Debo Simbolon, yes, please.
So whatever you teach, let's say for example,
okay. No problem.
Yeah. So whatever you're teaching, let's say for example, it's a math class or it's a science class. If you understand engineering yourself, you'll be able to make links to it. For example, in materials science, I teach a materials class. And for example, there is something called moisture wicking material where so let's say you have this shirt and then the moisture from the inside goes to the outside. It's actually one-way flow. So you think of a cone, the pressure from the inside pushes the water through to the outside, but it can't go back in. One-way flow, just like your skin. Your skin has one-way flow. The moisture can come out, but it doesn't go back in. Thank God, because we'd all drowned in the rain. So when you talk about something like that, you can bring in moisture wicking fabric. Now in the United States, moisture wicking fabric, Under Armour makes moisture wicking fabric. You pay $50 for the top, and you pay $50 for the bottom, which is $100 for the outfit. I know I have 2 kids, but it's mostly in sports. So I have said to some of my students, what about if we brought an inexpensive moisture wicking fabric to the Middle East, where women are covered from head to toe all year round? Would that make a difference to the lives of women in the Middle East? And everybody is, duh, yet it doesn't happen. So all of a sudden, so Debo, you would say to your students something like that, but you're going, but I don't know that. I didn't know that. If you know a little bit about engineering, now what I just presented you is a 2-day workshop. That really what I just went over, just the title slide. When you know a little bit here and a little bit there, when I give that example to kids, and I give it all the time, they're like, oh my God, how come that doesn't exist? The moisture wicking fabric are all for the football players. What about women? And how it happened is I had a student who was covered and it was all polyester material. And it was June one year in New York and it was 95 degrees outside. And I said, aren't you hot? She said, I am boiling. And that's when I thought a moisture wicking fabric can be used for something else. So how do you introduce it to the classroom? You kind of have to know little bits like that, but as a minimum, as Clemens said, at least if you know the names of the 76 different types of engineering, that will give you a hint all by itself. And there is something called materials engineering. It exists. Last analogy. Nike is owned by a man called Philip Knight. There are currently 35, they are number 35 of Air Jordans. Air Jordans are engineered to within a millimeter of their life. Okay, so for the females in the group, I can't talk to the men. Anytime you put on a pair of heels, stiletto heels, you wear them to a wedding. Most women call them 10-minute shoes because you can only wear them for 10 minutes. At the wedding, the minute you sit down, you take your shoes off. I promise you that if Philip Knight had had to wear stiletto shoes, he would have engineered them so they could be worn for longer than 10 minutes. I have the video on it. There is someone from SpaceX, a woman from SpaceX, who 3 years ago engineered a stiletto heel based on the materials that they used at SpaceX. And all of a sudden, the students go, huh, that's a good point. So how do you get them interested? Anecdotal stuff like that. Doing a derivation in math will not get anybody interested in engineering, yet everybody has to do it.
Okay, many thanks for your answers. And Debo, do you want to respond shortly, because I think the time is over. But if you want to say something to Anne-Marie, you can open your mic.
Thank you for the explanation. It helped me to practice in my classroom. I'll try.
Honestly, though, it's not even so much practice. If there were more teachers that were just aware, walking in the door of their classroom, and then were just armed with a little more information, it would empower the teachers. It would say, any girl that's organized would make a great engineer. And you would say to them, Susie, did you ever think about engineering? She's like, no. So it would impact, this little bit of information would empower teachers. So that's my.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Very interesting. Clement, should we finish now and go back to the main room, or?
There was a chat message from Scholl that we will continue for some more minutes, but I'm not aware anymore how much longer it is. No, maybe just one more thing to Anne-Marie. Just came to my mind right now. Anne-Marie, so is there a way? I don't know how you present these ideas of how to link engineering topics with these standard school things, where you kind of give them out a booklet, and where you say, when you do the chemical topic A, it would be suitable to combine it with engineering ideas 1, 2, 3, and 4, or something like this?
How to bake cookies. Chemical engineering, you need to bake cookies.
Yeah.
So this is actually a 2-day workshop that I have, and it's long. And as part of it, you empower the teachers with chemical engineering is not just oil. Chemical engineering is anybody can bake a dozen cookies in an oven. But for industry, they need to bake 100 dozen cookies at a time, or biscuits. Does that mean you need 100 ovens? No, well, that's dumb. So do you put 5 dozen in one oven and then you have 20 ovens? Engineering with math will tell you how many ovens you need. All of a sudden, kids are there. How do you bake 100 dozen cookies? Because everybody has done it, or they've seen it in their house. And they go, And then with math, you can figure out what's there. The obvious is all of the makeup. Girls love makeup. And makeup is a chemical engineering process. But nobody understands it. So, for example, lip plumper. This is an example you give them for chemical. So lip plumper. I'm sorry, guys. Angelina Jolie invented pouty lips. So what they do is when you put lip plumper on, you can feel some tingling. I'm sorry. You can feel some tingling around your lips. So essentially what lip plumper is tiny, tiny, tiny sponges that go in here. And what they do is they attract all the water around your lips. And so that's what the tingling is. And those tiny, tiny little sponges get larger and then make your lips look plumper. What about them? It's non-toxic, it's your own water. Does it go away? Yes, the water after a while diffuses back into the rest of your face. Last one, all day lipstick, a $1 billion industry. All day lipstick, the skin on your lips rejuvenates every 24 hours. It doesn't peel off like a snake, but the outer layer of skin that's here today is gone tomorrow. So what they did is they got a lip stain and you put it on your lips and you're thinking, all right, so it's like a paint for your lips. What the engineering part is that the stain only transfers one layer of skin down. It has to go down one layer of skin and stop. That's very difficult. So what happens is it goes down one layer of skin and it stops. So when that layer of skin goes away by the 24-hour mark, you're back to your regular lips. The only problem is all day lipstick, because it's a stain, it's not shiny. So when you buy all day lipstick, you will get 2 tubes in the box, the stain and the gloss that you have to keep reapplying. I promise you, I think I can say with confidence that a male did not come up with that design, all day lipstick. So in chemical engineering, there's an entire year of mass transfer. Last one, tattoos. I don't know if anybody has a tattoo. No tattoos in the group? I don't. So a tattoo goes down, let's say, approximately 40 layers of skin deep. But how many layers of skin do we lose over the summer when you exfoliate? Guys, do you exfoliate regularly? I'm sure you do. Exfoliate? Okay. Exactly. So when you're at the beach and some skin comes off, let's say that you lose approximately 4 or 5 layers of skin on your arm over 2 years. We're making that up. So the tattoo needle, instead of going down 40 layers of skin, it goes down 5 layers of skin. So it's permanent, but what happens at the end of 2 years? Since the 5 layers of skin are gone, so is the tattoo. Raise your hand if you would have a 2-year tattoo. You get it when you're a sophomore in college and it's gone by the time you're a senior. Millions and millions of more people would get a 2-year tattoo rather than a lifetime tattoo because everybody knows you change your mind. That's chemical engineering. And kids are going, huh, but it doesn't exist yet. That's just me thinking about stuff. So all of a sudden, the kids aren't interested in mass transfer. To be honest, it's boring. Who would wake up in the morning and say, oh my God, I can't wait to go to mass transfer. But they're interested in the whole notion of a 2-year tattoo or lip plumper or all day lipstick. That will get them. And then they'll do all the derivations you want from here because it's all differential equations. All right, we have a year of differential equations. They're going to run out the door. But if it can help you create products like that, they'll stay, they'll hang out. So that's how you get them interested or excited. My last question. I'm just curious, the way I described university or engineering in the United States, I'm wondering, is it very, very different where you guys are? In the United States, it is not cool to like math and science. Those kids are in the minority. I went to high school in Ireland. In Ireland, it was cool to like math and science. It was cool to appear to be the kid who knew stuff. It is the exact opposite here. It is not cool to like math and science. And I was wondering how that is in other parts of the world. Mom, you seem like you're smiling, like you're surprised.
No, I think in Austria it's the same. I think wouldn't consider it cool. That it is considered cool.
It's not. It's not, Clemens. It's not considered cool.
Not considered cool.
No. In fact, it's very uncool.
I can relate to Egypt because I'm from Egypt and I also come from an engineering background, so I relate to everything you're saying. So actually, I was the only one from. Yes, Iman?
No. Actually, we are waiting for your perspective, Cheryl. I know. Okay.
Yeah, because I come from an engineering background, and for me, I was the only one who actually got to engineering from my colleagues at high school. So they all went to advertisement, to mass comm, to art. So actually here people take perspective of the engineering or women in engineering as nerds. I don't know, but we have always this perspective, and they have to be loving math, and all the things you said also apply here to Egypt as well. So I totally agree.
And so the reality is that the regular kid who loves to watch television and play video games, why would they raise their hand and say, I want to be associated with the nerds and the social misfits in the world? No regular kid would say that, especially girls who are so socially conscious. And were there any other females in your engineering college classes? Many?
Sure. But for example, in the electric, because I was computer science, so for us, we were kind of, our motivation was designing games, designing 3D cartoons and stuff. So the motivations were, they existed, as you said. But in other branches like electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, there were like one female in the whole class. And we all were like, how can you sustain this? So it was a bit hard.
You have to be kind of surrounded like an oak tree to be the female in a class of testosterone.
So sorry to disturb you, but we are a little bit late, and then we will need to have a break because we skipped the other break. So very nice session. To finish in 2 minutes or something, and then we meet in the main room. And I think all the sessions are finishing. We will have a break, and then we will start 10 minutes later. So if you want to say something, but probably in 2 minutes, you can just return to the main room. So see you soon.
I just want to thank you
for
your time. That's all. Thank you, guys. Hopefully you learned a little bit.
All right, so if that is your closing remarks, and in a nutshell, I learned that engineering is also everywhere, not only math and science, but also engineering, we can find it everywhere, as you mentioned before. Okay, thank you very much, Anne-Marie, and you are from Columbia University, isn't it? Yes, okay. And thank you all for your contribution, and also Clement to help me handling this session. Do you want to say something before we close?
No, thanks. I'm good. It was really interesting.
Okay. Hello, Martin. Welcome. Do you want to say something?
Hello. I'm just here to check what your progress is.
All right. We are nearly done.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. Once again, thank you very much, everyone. I noticed some of you are from Indonesia as me. They are from Austria, like Clement, Lisa Kuka, Martin, and so on. And thank you very much. See you in the main room. Bye-bye.
So Ellen, Maribon, do you need anything from me? So I just introduce you, and then I can just assist the whole session.
Thank you. And the presentation is, do you have it, or shall we?
I think it's better for you to present, so to share. So
okay.
Are you now a co-host?
Yes, I already did it.
Yes. So both of you are co-hosts, so everything should be fine. And then if you need breakout rooms, I can create it for you. So
thank you so much.
Very, very, very nice audience. So
thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so see you soon at 4:20. I will be back some minutes earlier.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ella, are you going to share? Because it's best that one of us shares.
Yes, I'm going to share.
Okay, and I suppose I can walk through the slides then as well. Because I'm co-host, so hopefully I can.
Yep.
Maybe we can check that. It's more convenient to do it myself than ask you all the time.
I agree. We can try it some minutes before. Can we do that?
Yes.
Maybe in
Sure. So you can I will be back in 5 minutes, so you can start the slides then, but you can try it now if you want. So.
Okay. Okay, well, I goes first. Yes, do you see it, Marivon?
Yes, I see it, but I have to figure out how to walk to the next slide.
But it's me that has the...
Oh, yeah, you are in control.
I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah.
So you will have to, I will have to stop sharing and then you will have to continue.
Okay, let me try then, because I didn't do this before, so.
Everything all right? Thanks a
Can
lot.
you stop sharing, Ella?
Yeah.
So soon.
Okay.
Yeah, done. Everything was good. How was the engineering closing?
Is it okay like this?
Yes, good.
Great. Okay, and now I have to stop sharing over here. Okay, great. Yes, we'll manage. Okay.
It works. Super.
And if you need something, just tell us. We will try to make everything happen.
Wow, amazing.
Thank you very much for speaking and seeing you again.
Yeah, it's nice to see you as well.
So I'm back. Maybe we can wait 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
Because we had the break from the last session, so it was 2 interesting sessions, so we didn't have a break before.
Okay.
And,
yeah. Good.
And yeah, so everything is going well. Very interesting session. So thanks a lot for coming. So I'm sure it will be excellent.
Do you want us to stop at 5, or do we have a little bit more time?
Yeah, we can have time. So we keep the 50 minutes.
Okay, it's the last session, right? For today.
Yes. Yes. So
okay. So till about 10 past 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
So if everyone is ready, maybe we can start in 1 minute. And so really interesting conversations in the breakout session. So I was looking around at if everything is going well, but it looks everyone enjoyed it, and it was difficult to stop as in the previous session. So I would like to welcome our next speakers. But also before we start, like before in every session, that if you just take maybe 1 minute to turn on your cameras to have a kind of more personal feeling for the presenters, since we cannot be at the same place. So it would be just nice to see some faces instead of just black boxes. And I think this is a nice gesture. And then, of course, you can turn it off afterwards. And so we have a history about this next presentations, because we have been working together with Ella and Marivon on the STEAM Plus project, which is trying to introduce policy on STEAM education. And then we are working in many countries, and then with many policymakers across Europe to see that whole STEAM education could be part of the curriculum. So we looked at really interesting STEAM innovations yesterday. This morning we were talking about that home research could be included, and then design and STEAM could be included in the research and be integrated. In the afternoon, we looked at the STEAM communities and initiatives all around the world, and we always get to the discussion of policy. But policy is a very difficult topic. So what we try to address with the STEAM project to raise the awareness among policymakers for STEAM education, and also initiate this discussion. So last year we had a meeting with the European Commission in Vienna about defining what is STEAM education, and we are continuing this in the different places across Europe. We are running STEAM labs, and then we are discussing with ministries of education. And actually tomorrow afternoon, we have a STEAM Austria meeting with the Ministry of Education and then all the higher education institutions in the afternoon to discuss how to integrate STEAM policies into Austria, but it's happening in different countries. So Ella and Marivon will talk about our project. And then actually next year, next May, we will organize a STEAM lab in Linz. Before that, there will be some other ones. And then we will invite lots of policymakers across Europe and the European Commission to work with us on these initiatives. So I think this is more than enough. And then I think Ella and Marivon will tell us much more about how we can connect STEAM, talents, policies into education. So welcome our speakers. And then we have 50 minutes since we are a bit late. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Salt, for the introduction. It was very kind. Welcome to our session. My name is Ella Itzo. I'm professor in psychology at the University of Oslo in Norway. And I'm partner in this project together with Salt and Maribor, and I see Carmen is also from Romania joining us. STEAM Plus stands for Innovating STEAM in Higher Education with Transdisciplinary Talent Programs. And in this session, we intend to guide you through the project baseline, through the principles that our project builds on, the reasons for doing this project, our activities and outputs, our partners, and in the end, we spare some time for questions and discussion. So the project baseline. As we all know, Europe faces grand challenges such as climate change and energy transition, and therefore the project, the aim of the project is to provide educational policymakers with instruments to prepare new generations for handling the challenges of our time. And these challenges, they have STEM subject at their core, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but they need knowledge from all other disciplines, the extra A, in order to create STEAM solutions. We really need to use all brains, hearts, and hands, and all talents to tackle these challenges. And we want to achieve this by using the power of transdisciplinary talent programs as laboratories of innovation. Therefore, the project is actually called STEAM Plus. And we have three main principles. The first is transdisciplinarity. It means we do not start from disciplines, but from societal problems, from big challenges. The second is honors or talent programs. We do not start by existing STEM programs, but we start by using the proven power of talent programs, because honor students are highly competent and motivated students. They are students that enjoy complex challenges, and they are well suited to pilot the transdisciplinary perspectives. And the third principle is the co-creation process, where we bring together researchers, teachers, students, and policymakers to cooperate and create solutions. I feel a little bit the need to explain more the transdisciplinary concept, because maybe it's not so very familiar to everyone. So we all know that we are facing big challenges in the society, which strongly influences both future academic activities and policy measures in all areas of society, right? And transdisciplinarity is the way to understand the present world. If we look at the table here, right? These terms, disciplinary, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, they are used to imply in increasing order different degrees of academic, disciplinary, and synthesis and interaction, right? But the later, however, transdisciplinarity is the only one which goes beyond all disciplines and understands the present world by achieving a unity of knowledge. And this development represents a fundamental challenge for the contemporary academic professions. But let me use an analogy. Let's imagine that each discipline is a fruit. Math is the apple, language is a strawberry, right? And that's disciplinary. We have different disciplines, different fruits. Let's also imagine that we arrange these fruits on a plate. Then we have multidisciplinary. Let's also go further on and make a fruit salad. Then we have the interdisciplinary, right? They are mixed, but we can still see where is the math, where is the influence of the language, where is the influence of the social studies, right? But transdisciplinary, that's the smoothie. We make them, we mix them so much that we make them to something totally new. We come to totally new solutions. Everything is incorporated. And even more, we think about maybe including a little bit of yogurt. And this means we open up for for people outside the academic world. We invite stakeholders, policymakers, and regular people to join this transdisciplinary smoothie. And then we get a solution that is perfect, matched with the needs of the users. If you only think about the COVID, right? That's a really big cooperation between researchers, policymakers, the society as a whole that is needed in order to create solutions. Okay, I will make things short because I could talk a lot about this. But in short words, there are too many interpretations of transdisciplinarity. And the first one is that it's challenge-based approach. It doesn't start from the disciplines, it starts from the problems. And the second one is that it involves the society, right? And now I will invite my colleague Marivon to take you further on and explain even more why we are involved in this project and what we intend to do and what impact do we hope we will have. So I think I will stop sharing and I will join you later for the discussion.
Thank you, Ella. I'm going to share the presentation myself. Okay, so yeah, from now I'm taking over. My name is Marie van den Nieboer, and I'm the national coordinator of the STEAM Plus project in the Netherlands. And I work at the Hanze University of Applied Sciences as a lecturer. Well, Ella introduced the project to you and she told you a bit about the principles behind this project. And now the question arises, well, why do we need this project? Well, you see a SWOT analysis that we made of the current situation. And what we see is some strengths. We see on the one hand, talented, motivated, young people. We see a strong connectivity, for instance, the internet. We see opportunities, international agreements that support transformational learning. There is a demand for transformational learning. But there are also some threats because, well, there is some urgency to work on those grand challenges, those complex challenges that we are facing currently. And we see some weaknesses in most of the European institutions for higher education, because what we see there is this disciplinary structure, as Ella already talked about, those fruits separately from each other, apples in one department and strawberries in the other. And we see that in most cases, education is teacher-driven. So looking at this SWOT analysis, well, what we see is what STEAM Plus can bring is that we can tackle those complex problems with the STEAM Plus approach. And the STEAM Plus approach is in fact learner or talent driven. We co-create together, for instance, with students, the education, and we introduce this transdisciplinary learning. So then we can tackle the problems of the 21st century, we think, with this approach. Okay, sorry, yeah. Okay, what are we going to do in this project? Well, we have several activities planned. And an important one are the innovation labs. We have national meetings and we have policy meetups that we are going to organize. Currently, the partners in the project are organizing policy meetings in their own higher education institutes, but also on national level, for instance, with people from ministries and also people from other institutes of higher education. And we will organize national meetings and policy meetups to share later on in the project, to share what we experienced, what we discovered, and to discuss with them what we can do with all those things that the project brought us. And then a little bit more about the innovation labs, because those are very important activities that we are organizing within this project. And these innovation labs, well, we are going to organize 3 of them, STEAM Plus labs. And these are kind of projects in which all parties work together, and that's what we mean. Teachers and students work together on a societal problem. And the first lab is hopefully going to take place this summer in Venice. If COVID-19 lets us, then we will travel over there and work during a week all together, teachers, students, experts, on a problem or an assignment that is given to us by the Venetian municipality, and it's called the Citizen Science for Marine Conservation. So we are looking at the marine conservation in the Venetian lagoon. Well, there will be another lab this year, and that is going to be organized by the colleagues from Lithuania, and it will be an online lab, and it's called Sustainable Sea and City Challenge. And as Salt already mentioned in the introduction, there will be a third lab organized in Austria. And the title of that lab is Fun Solutions for Societal Challenges. So these three labs will hopefully give us a lot of experience and information about how it works to work in a transdisciplinary way on a societal problem. And hopefully we can share all those experiences with all other people. And then there are two main products that we want to deliver with this project. The first one is an innovation lab implementation path, which in fact is an instrument or a guideline that gives you an idea how to establish transdisciplinary talent programs in higher education institutes. And the second product is a menu for policy inspiration. My colleagues already talked about the importance of the policy partners and policy to see the need for transdisciplinarity in education. So it's important to inspire them to support these transdisciplinarity in education. So this menu will be kind of an instrument for policymakers in higher education, but also on other levels, also up until EU level, to support them to recognize the importance of transdisciplinarity in talent programs. Well, and within our project, we have some partners, and those partners are very important for us because they provide us with information and inspiration to execute our work. And we have 18 full partners, and the full partners in higher education institutes you can see on this slide. And we have also 34 associate partners. And our full policy partners are presented over here, and you see that there are some ministries involved. And well, for us, it's important to be able to share with those partners everything that we are doing, and also gather information in our meetings with them to find out what they need, because, well, as we said, it's so important to involve policymakers and to get them enthusiastic about the idea of transdisciplinarity. So we have to involve them in the project, and we are very happy that they have been willing to be full partners in our project. And last but not least, we have an external advisory board, a board of 5 experienced, enthusiastic people that are providing us with very valuable advices. We meet with them on a regular basis, and we try to incorporate all their advices in our project. So, and in the end, we hope that all these partners will help us disseminate everything that we gather within our project, so that well, as many people as possible get information about the need and the possibilities of transdisciplinary education. Well, concluding, why is STEAM Plus so unique? Well, first of all, we are applying a holistic approach, starting with the grand challenges and using international, transdisciplinary and educational chain perspectives. Secondly, we use the proven innovative power of transdisciplinary talent programs that we already know. And then lastly, we will or are collaborating transnationally with 18 higher education and policy partners and 34 enthusiastic associate partners to optimize dissemination of results and impact. Well, that's what we wanted to share with you about our project. And now it's time for your questions and first reactions on what we have told you. So feel free to ask questions. I think you could raise your hands. I have a look at the host thought. What is the best way to do this, to ask questions?
So we can ask question for everyone is writing in the chat. So okay. maybe we can get some feedback. So maybe Musa and Carla, you could say something that's why you think it's promising, and then we just continue the discussion. So please write your questions in the chat, and then we can say something. So maybe Musa, you could say something that's why you think it's a promising initiative, and then Carla, maybe you can say also something for.
Well, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, as I have introduced myself in the morning session, I am Musa Simon from the College of Business Education in Tanzania. I'm not coming from the mathematics field, I'm from language and literacy. Yet I can see it very promising and very insightful. I liked it, and I'm saying it's promising because of its heuristic in nature. The way you approach the stakeholders that you considered, that's the first reason for me. I think it's promising it can work, because as we have alluded to it in the morning, that sometimes you find that the only thing that does not make a certain approach don't work in education is the difference in terms of the perception between perhaps researchers and the policymakers.
So would you like to respond to these comments?
I was just trying to answer somebody in the chat.
As long as you have identified these people that they are very teams, how is going to be possible to coalesce? So to me, it shows how possible that is going to be successful, because all the voices are going to be heard and all the possible solutions are going to be suggested. That's one. But the second thing, you see, sometimes one of the mistake that we do in education or research is that we forget that schools are not an island from the social context. So sometimes we focus on things as we are solving problem for schools, forgetting that the education context, these schools are very connected to the community, connected to culture and other things. We can take an example. I think you have mentioned how COVID came. No school solution that could make a school safe unless we have saved also the community around the school. So the way now you are taking it, coming from taking it in both sides, coming to school and going back to the community. So all this makes very interesting and very promising in my perspective. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's good to hear that you think it's promising and that you think it will work.
Yes.
Yeah, so
I see in the chat. Ella. Yes, I see in the chat somebody asks if we are going to, if the honor programs is the only place where we implement these programs, but we are just piloting this with these honor students because, like I said, they are very motivated and they are capable of thinking in a complex way, but we intend to scale it to all students. Actually, I'm not so sure if we haven't thought so far, including the students with learning difficulties, but definitely maybe even into the undergraduate programs, because this our students in Oslo, in the honor programs, they say that they wished they had learned about this way of thinking, the transdisciplinary way of thinking, while they were in high school. That would have been then much easier for them when they started the program. So maybe we should really scale it down to undergraduate levels. And yes, are you going to implement mathematically strong case studies?
So Ella,
yes.
we will ask the people in the chat to ask their questions. So I think we are just going one by one.
Yeah, okay,
so,
good, good.
So you don't have to reply. So we will ask the participants in the chat. It just thing. So I think also what is very important, and we have been discussing in the conference, that the European Commission really wants to have this team initiative from the perspective to integrate it in the schools. And then many of these projects and grants which we are involved in, and then also STEAM Plus is in this initiative. And then it's very difficult to change policy in the countries. And then I think the benefit of this project, that many ministries of education and the European Commission is part of this initiative to be able to make this kind of step from research to practice to the policy, because then that is usually a difficult step. So until now we were talking about how to do the groundwork, or how to do the kind of initiatives taking over the policies. But now what we try to do with STEAM Plus is more like working together with the policymakers to make some progress. And then probably it will be longer on the long run, but at least we have interest from many places. So Carla, I think you have some comments and questions.
Yeah, so that one from the mathematical strong case studies is from me. Of course, you know me. I teach mathematics, so it's, for me, it's it's a very interesting to be able to show students that mathematics is everywhere, and they can apply it, because since forever I feel that the students lack this type of motivation to learn math. They feel that mathematics is kind of a pure science, not applied at all. And I think we need to change this way of thinking. And so these type of projects are a way to promote the critical thinking in them, by also going to these students who have several difficulties, and mathematics is really one of them. And and I believe, so this is quite a very inspiring and very interesting project. I can congratulate you all for being there, being partners and having thought about it. And I believe that the students, the weaker ones, are the ones who are going to profit the most with this, because the ones that are already anxious to learn, they usually learn everywhere and using the traditional methods and so on, right? But the ones who are, less motivated due to a lot of reasons, we don't have to tell them again, enumerate them again. I think these are the ones that will profit the most from this type of project. So yes, so congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, what is nice, and that is in addition to what Ella earlier said, is that for example, in Groningen, in the Netherlands, we have a bit of experience with transferring things that we did within honors programs to the regular programs. And we saw that partly this worked very well. And of course, you have to think about how to do this, but I think there are a lot of chances to do it. And also, incorporate all those students that are, well, not part of honors programs, maybe the weaker students, as you said, to incorporate them also in these kind of projects and these kind of initiatives, because they will benefit absolutely. And it's very nice if you can see within these projects how mathematics, for people that are not from mathematics, to see what kind of contribution mathematics can have for societal problems. That is very interesting for other students from other disciplines, I think. Yeah, thank you so much.
And you can start by telling them that it was mathematical modeling who allowed nowadays a lot of people, stakeholders and health policy makers to decide certain measures with respect to COVID-19 pandemic. So
yeah.
There's mathematics behind the scenes.
Yes, it is, but we don't realize, if you're not from that field, I'm not from that field, but we often do not realize the importance. It's very, very nice if we can show that within these kind of projects. Yeah.
So congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you. So Valentina, do you want to say something or?
Actually, thank you very much for your talk, for your results. Great connection between each other. When I saw the whole list of many ministries and other institutions that are connected, that is great. Actually, in Ukraine, there is a conception posted in 2020 about applying STEAM education to all the branches of education system. So probably you can spread your connection for more Eastern Europe, not West Europe. That would be great.
Yes, thank you.
I think we have. I think we have Lithuania in one of the partners of the project. So.
Yeah, Lithuania, but Lithuania it's more west than Ukraine. Let me say.
Yeah. So we can involve you.
Yeah,
Great.
and Lithuania, it's pretty cool. I saw the results in Portuguese at the conference. Even students, great results.
Excellent. Ala, would you like to ask your question?
Ella?
Yes.
Ala?
That's in the room again.
Oh, Allah is not in the room. Okay.
Okay. Good. Yes. So, Irina, did you get your response?
Here's Allah.
Yes, I did. Thank you so much.
Okay. Excellent. Very good.
Maybe we could answer the question of Allah, because the question of Allah is in the chat, and she asked where she can find more information. And our last slide. So at the end of our session, we will show you the last slide, and there our website is presented, and you can subscribe for a newsletter, so you can get all the new information from us on a regular basis. So we provide you with some details at the end of this session.
Anne-Marie, would you like to ask your question or?
Yes, I was just curious if it was outside the EU, because one of the things I noticed is something like transdisciplinary doesn't come up in the United States so much. It's not a philosophy, so to speak. Even STEAM is prominent, but it's not as prominent as STEM. And I think those in the US would really benefit from an outside the box approach like transdisciplinary. I thought it was really cool. So I was wondering if you would just bring it across the ocean.
Well, what we know is that the European Union really puts some demands on the educational system in the EU countries, and that is transdisciplinarity is one of them. So maybe this is why it is now a more focus on this perspective. This is related to an earlier question about how to convince the politicians, and we know that what politicians want and like are success stories. So we will also try to present on our website some projects that are really successful in other institutions in Europe. Maybe, yeah, because this is what they like, and if they see something that they like, maybe they consider to take a step to action, maybe. Yes.
So the EU is really moving to the STEAM direction to promote creativity and innovation, and I think since then there is most of the projects is beyond STEM now, so it's more STEAM project. So I think this will be the trend, and then it will go to policy as well in the individual countries as well. And then of course you are very welcome to take our initiatives. And actually in Asia there is a huge STEAM movement in Korea and Taiwan and China. So and then there is this kind of creativity and innovation. So Felix and Marta, maybe you want to say something about your project because it's really interesting. And then afterwards, Pia can ask or comment for this. So Felix and Marta, do you want to say something?
Well, it was actually just a reaction on Anne-Marie's question. And it's not about the big policy perspective, really. It's just that we are actually planning this pilot study from the next school year in the United States, which is then a part of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's Grand Challenge, Balance the Equation. And they are, it's not policy, so to speak, but it is about scaling up a STEAM-oriented approach, to the United States in general. So this might be one of the first steps maybe into this direction. And it's just a single project, but we're not the only ones. It's actually up to 10 projects probably. And well, we'll see how the reactions will be.
I think it's very important that everyone is attacking the same problem from a many different perspectives. So then that is great. So Pia, you had some comments.
All I wanted to say was really, I'm a teacher, but I'm not a math teacher. And to be honest, I don't know anything about my colleagues, what they're actually doing in their field. And I think it's about time that we have, as some of you said, had a holistic approach, and do things together and connect us teachers more. And by working on one project together, I mean, this is about time that we did that. Like not just teachers, we are all lone fighters, each one of us. But by looking at this project, I can see a future where we actually work together on various projects and then hopefully have better results. And and I think that's a great project. I'm fascinated.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Go for it.
What is even more nice is that there are journals now that publish transdisciplinary research, because until a few years ago they were non-existing. And we hope there will be even more some financial organizations that would give financial supply for this kind of projects. And I agree with you. But it takes a little bit in order to create such a transdisciplinary group, right? Because some people and in some disciplines, they have their own methods that are just like this. And in order to accept and to merge and accept that other methods are also reliable, there will be some friction there. I see it for myself, right? And it's normal and it's natural. But the idea is that everybody should find we will find a common way to succeed.
I'm very much aware of that, you know, I think particularly as older teachers, we are in this structure, you know, we are stuck in this, the way we have always taught. But I think it's particularly with younger students at the university, we should start to train our, future teachers to look at it, look at teaching from a different angle. And yes, and I think that's, very good thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think Carla and Irina wrote lots of comments. So maybe you can say something if you want. You are fine, Irina?
Yes. Okay. So I'm a very strong supporter of interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary, but I'm going to play devil's advocate and just say that if we look at the traditional environment, we start more or less interdisciplinary or even sometimes transdisciplinary at elementary school, and then we get into more and more specialized education, right? And then now we're looking at that doesn't work very well. However, we all understand that in order to do anything transdisciplinary, there needs to be some base. There needs to be some strong content knowledge in specific disciplines. So question is, where do we start? But where do we finish with in-depth content? Do we teach in-depth content before we go into transdisciplinary? Do we teach in-depth content through transdisciplinary approach? Or where is that borderline? Where, you know, it's not enough to really go in that kind of projects and solve societal problems in a holistic way, or where it is we just went too far and too narrow, and our specialists nowadays, we have to retrain them every time we shift a little bit.
Very nice questions, actually. Where is the line, and what should we start with first? I think it is absolutely necessary that you have a good ground content knowledge in one discipline, and then start with transdisciplinarity. But this is my opinion. But also, like I said, you also have to have the right personality somehow in order to accept and to be open up, because I think we will still need very specialized people in mathematics, in chemistry. Not everybody can be a transdisciplinarian. Let's say it like this. Not everybody has the ability to accept different perspectives and to take them in and see the problems in a complex person. Not everybody is like this, and they should coexist, both the very specialized people and also the transdisciplinary people. My opinion. But the way of thinking and the way, and it is in every country, I think it's moving, right? Taking in NGOs and organizations outside the school into the school and having projects together in the local community. This is already an opening towards the transdisciplinary thinking. So it's, yes.
So I think when we will have our project, so what we do is trying to solve real problems, and then also the labs will demonstrate this kind of new way of project-based learning and teaching. So I think we try to go in this way. So I think until now you have seen some of the theories and then the ideas, but I think soon we will have much more data, and then also much more development or designing the problems. And I think it will be interesting for you. And I think Mara had some comments and contributions. So Mara, maybe you would like to say something.
Yes, I'll be happy to. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I have some experience with transdisciplinary work, and currently I'm actually working on a team of transdisciplinary nature, where we really learned that good communication is essential. So yes, we have to pay attention to specialized knowledge, but also transdisciplinarity brings the real
world into a focus. So one of the things that we have done at my university is identifying good projects that can kind of go across the disciplines and role-playing with teachers, different approaches from different disciplines. So I'm excited to hear about this, and I hope we'll continue to talk more about transdisciplinary look, because it took a while for people to realize when we say STEM or STEAM, we are not talking about individual disciplines. We're talking about, I will just say, a specific construct that's keeping in mind all these disciplines. And it goes beyond, because we are not listing language and communication, some other things that are also essential for successful transdisciplinary project in STEAM. So looking forward to hear more.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, like Marivon mentioned, we have in each of these European countries, we will have like 3 workshops with policymakers, and where the policymakers will tell both about their challenges in each country and opportunities. So it will be a really contextual and cultural print from all these countries, and we will have this together in this instrument for the policymakers. So it's really exciting, because I think it will really, so please follow us, please go on our website and follow our progress. It would be interesting. And also the labs, they can generate actually new pedagogies and new ways of interacting between students and teachers, and what will be created there from so many different disciplines and so many, it will be amazing. It will be an amazing experience. I'm really looking forward to it.
Excellent. Carmen, I think you had some comments.
Yes, I already wrote these my comments in the chat. But I am professor in Romania, in Iași, at Faculty of Psychology and Educational Sciences. And actually I teach curriculum and also subjects of transdisciplinarity, and I think it's very difficult to change the meaning of transdisciplinarity because most of people have a traditional meaning of this concept, or the real transdisciplinary, which is now the approach of this new concept, is very now very promoted now, and very encouraged now, and it's very difficult for all the teachers to feel this meaning and to encourage this thing. This is one of the threats of our project. I forgot to say that I am a member also of this project. And also another threat is the conservatories in universities. Also at the level of management of universities, not only at the national or international scale, but also at the local scale. And I think these STEAM plus laboratories, which are organized very difficult and with a lot of efforts, could be a very good example of international labs. And I think if we will dare to organize international transdisciplinary labs with people who are very motivated teachers and students, like honors students and honors teachers, I think we can offer an image about our meaning of transdisciplinarity and co-creation and going beyond the traditional knowledge.
Okay, thank you very much. And
welcome.
I think we have two more comments. So Shia, Han, maybe you can say something, and then afterwards Felix and Martin. Then I think we need to conclude the session because it was a very long day for many of us. So Xian, would you like to say something? No? Okay, so I think then there is a comment. So maybe Felix and Marta, if you can.
Yes, I also wrote it in the chat again, but I think it is really a lot about the order of how students are introduced to topics, because they are living in a world which is very complex, and they expect they expect to be taken care of in their development as to become proficient in dealing with this complexity. And what they get at schools mostly is like a very overstructured, non-real way of artificial experiences that doesn't match their expectations, but even worse than that, it demotivates actually all their motivation. So they, even if they were motivated to deal with some problems, they don't even find them back in the ways they are taught, for instance, a subject like mathematics at schools. And so our approach is really to start with holistic experiences and to always start transdisciplinary in the ways we present topics, and then to specialize it into what math can contribute to understanding it, what some certain aspects of arts can contribute to deal with it, what language is important to understand it and to communicate about it, and all these aspects that real problems actually combine. Of course, this is demanding, but I totally agree that it's about time to start with this.
And do you see that this helps students to become more motivated?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is really,
can imagine.
Yes, this is an absolute yes.
Okay, great.
Thank
Great
you.
to hear.
Thank you. If I'm not wrong, I think it's Finland that just gave up all the curriculum and they renewed it, and they have a challenge-based approach on their curriculum. So they start from, it's a problem-based curriculum. They start from the problems, and then they identify the disciplines that are involved in solving the problem. It's really interesting if you search on the internet for their curriculum. It's yeah, it's in this direction that we are going to.
Yeah,
actually.
I think it's in progress in Finland, so I think they're transitioning to this approach. But I think it's very similar what is happening in Korea and Taiwan too, which is a very interesting approach. So I think we need to conclude the session, and thank you very much, Ella and Marivon and Carmen and all of you who contributed. So I think it was very valuable, and then also we covered many different things on design. So thank you very much for the contributions. So I think it's a very diverse group and very diverse conference. So thank you very much. And then have a good evening for everyone. So tomorrow we will continue. So we will have really interesting examples of STEAM education in Austria. So we will show lots of very interesting topics, including the Ministry of Education, which is very good. So it's a part of our project to promote in this kind of STEAM policy. And then also we are very fortunate that we will have the director of the Ars Electronica Center here, which is then the kind of future laboratory of technology and learning and science. And then he also leading the European Space Agency educational program here in Austria and in Eastern Europe. So he will give a really fascinating presentation. And then also Ars Electronica is organizing one of the big technology and arts festivals here. So usually we have more than 100,000 people coming to Linz for the Arts Electronica Festival every year. So it will be very interesting day tomorrow. And then in the afternoon, we will have a more closed session with the ministry and then with many other policymakers. So I think this kind of transdisciplinary thing is coming to us soon. And then it's very good that many of you are contributing to this new approaches to education. And I think this is how change will come. So thank you very much for everyone, for all the contributions, and thanks for the team who makes it possible. So my PhD students and speakers and so on. Is there anything from the team that I might forget? No?
Maybe if you would send us the presentations or upload the presentations in the provided link, that would be really great for everyone. So
yes,
the information can be shared and the contacts can be shared. That would be really awesome.
Yes.
Thank you very much for everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being invited to the conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And we will collect all the materials. We will share it with you, and then also we will put the streaming on YouTube.
Great.
So have a good evening for everyone, and then hope to see everyone here in real life as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, look forward to it. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Good evening.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Mm-hmm.